That now, actually, I think. Can we do that now, Reggie? Even though it's a little- Okay. Mrs. Blanchett, would you like to talk about Anita Smith or the
Yes.
tree update?
The three of us are representing the committee
Okay.
for the Anita Smith Memorial Garden, which will go on the west side of the Southampton Library. And we've gotten approval from the Library Board of Trustees. We received that last Thursday, but had indicated that we should come back to you for final approval. So that's why we're here tonight.
Okay. So the west side, that's out towards the tennis courts.
It is on the driveway side. If you look on that wall, there are the three windows.
Mhm.
One window is the librarian's office, and the other two windows are where the adults use the computers.
Sure.
And so Mr. Colley has kindly offered to remove the old cypress juniper shrubs. There's 7 of them there. And he's also going to remove a tree that's at the corner. The trustees were hoping that that would be removed also.
So that presumes also that he's looked at this from the perspective of snow removal and other maintenance issues and things like that. Remember we talked about that last week when we walked around
We
here
will be
too.
far enough from the driveway so that the snow should not pose a problem.
Great, well,
And
wonderful.
we'll plant the tree 8 feet from the building,
Mhm.
and he's going to provide the manure and the chips.
Wow.
So we're in pretty good shape.
All right,
And what
that's a
kind of
wonderful
tree?
memorial.
We purchased it yesterday. It's a Crimson Queen red Japanese maple. They're slow
Beautiful.
growing, so it's kind of small for now, but it's going to be a beautiful.
All right.
beautiful tree. And we'll put in some couple of low shrubs, and then some annuals, perennials, and some bulbs. And then Mr. Howard said he would bring chips, and we'll finish it off with chips. And we'll put some edging, we'll put some landscape edging to keep it clean.
So the Crooked Ledge location was not suitable.
I
want to have it planted at my
High
house.
Street is an action.
You were willing to maintain it, right?
It was a close second, but yeah, the library won out.
Oh, well, can't get you.
Okay, well then, we would need then a motion to approve the installation and planting of the Anita Smith Memorial Garden on the west side of the
So moved.
Southampton Library.
Second.
So moved.
Any further discussion? Those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. You have it. You have our.
Thank you so very much.
Thank you so much for what you're doing. It's wonderful. Okay, anything else? Okay. Okay, so back to, finance is on its way in, but in the meantime, we have a personnel change form, which, the purpose of which is to clarify the hourly rate for the town accountant who is under an emergency appointment, which we'll take up later on tonight. And this amounts to an hourly rate of $32.05 an hour, and this would be what we would need to do, because we talked about 40,000 not to exceed 32. However, the mathematics of that is such that what do you use? Do you use 24 hours or do you use 32 hours when you're figuring it out? So we came to an agreement where we said, okay, we'll use 24 hours, and that comes out to $32.05 the hour, which would be,
Motion to approve?
But this is for David, right? This
Yes,
is for
David.
David's temporary rate.
correct, David as a temporary person.
Second.
Any further discussion? Those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, the department head is me. Department is select board. 410-2012. Now, we also have then a payroll warrant in the amount of $221,421.28 plus the additional amount of $705.10, which would represent the amount being paid to David Keelson for his last
How much is it?
700, what, the total?
No, how much for David Keelson?
$705.10.
Motion to approve?
The agenda says 704, not that it's any big
We
deal.
recalculated based on, because it was $32.05 an hour.
No, we just,
Yeah. So if we have it, we finally got it.
$1.10 I'm not worried about.
Good, okay.
Just wondered why the difference.
That's why.
Motion to approve, Mr. Chair.
Okay, second, motion been made and seconded to approve the payroll warrant as described in two pieces. Any further discussion? Those in favor?
Aye.
Sign this, please. Okay, here comes finance, and we'll get back to the other stuff.
Okay, yourself?
Hello, finance. Can you sign that, please?
Yes, of course.
On the table. I'm sorry? To the folks up front? It's for everybody.
So, there's the rest of the Blanchette family. Family event.
The rest of that one.
Where's the rest of the warrant is right here. You want to pass that down over to Reggie? Reggie, if you could look at that to make sure you think we can get it through. Okay,
Before we go on any further,
yep,
just so no one raises an issue, should we maybe sign underneath David Keelson's extra $705?
Absolutely, good idea.
Because then someone's gonna say our signature wasn't included in our signature.
very good idea. Even,
Yes, sir.
Did these significantly change from the ones that
Oh, what do we got?
left your office? What did you put, the 17 from Edmonton?
I did. I put the
Yeah, that's the only
17,
thing different on
and
revenue, right?
I deduct, yes, that's the
Yeah.
only thing on revenue, and then I deducted the 100 from the Hampshire, 100,000, what you and I had talked about.
Oh, you took it off?
I did.
For the recommended?
I took it
Yeah,
off.
Actually,
You're gonna keep
we
it on?
haven't figured it out.
Oh, okay,
Goes on the floor in front of him.
okay,
Are you texting the score over there?
Oh, yeah, I gotta wait till you hold. Just doesn't miss the part I started.
We have finally the cash, we have all our ducks in a row.
I don't know, to be truthful.
Okay.
Where are we?
So the total of that line, instead of being 13, what? 883, is now 13,783. But that's the reason.
Was there anything we need to change
They're
there?
under our budget.
Goes here, it's page 2, 13,883, 100,000 difference. I'm gonna take a quick bio break. Never mind.
I wasn't paying attention to the bad boy.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
I deducted, I cut back, I'm sorry, I cut back 100,000 from the Hampshire Regional. I deducted that, I increased the revenue by 17 per head. You'll see the difference right here. This is the difference, expenses to revenue.
So we're short 12,000.
Is there something we need to change, or?
Does that include free cash?
Reggie gave you what we have. She did.
Do we, what happened, where's our free cash? Do we, so we could take the 12 from free cash and be okay?
Okay.
But what, how'd you reduce the 100,000 from the regional?
We were just discussing.
Just whack it.
Just hold back.
So we're gonna pay it eventually? Fictitious savings.
Interested when people weigh in on their budgets about that number right there.
Okay, that one, what that is, she just found out, we had billed the city of Hoyoke. It is legit.
It's gonna work?
Yep.
Oh,
it's
awesome.
legit.
I was worried we were gonna have to
Yeah.
lower it.
Yep.
Good.
You want to wait for Jess? It'll be just a minute, or, okay, roll it.
No, just kidding.
I tried to get your wife
Whatever
to,
you want, you're the leader.
I tried to get your wife to plant a tree in my yard, but she won't do it. She wants to do it.
You gotta die first before they'll plant the tree.
How are we feeling today?
Doug, it's not worth it.
Excellent, no, it's not.
Not worth to get that tree, you know? Now that they got the knees, so I took it again.
Go buy your own tree.
And I think your 12-mile bicycle trip a day is for you to do the opposite. Healthy, right?
Yeah. I've been doing good, 10 miles a day on a bike.
I called him the other day, I had to wait for him to pull over. Wait a minute, I gotta get to a bench.
Oh, no, I try to answer, I try to answer the phone, you know, it's like, yeah, well, it's kind of safe. You know, you've got plenty of
You have
room.
one of these little,
But I dropped the phone the other day. It was terrible.
coordination.
Yeah, I know it, yeah. Hey, what are you gonna do?
About 10 o'clock in the morning, I think, when I called you when you were out on the trail.
Yep.
Can I address both boards on the speed trailer? Would be all right?
Their meeting.
Jess is.
Jess is, there's the chief.
Go ahead.
Oh, there's the chief.
Jess is driving now.
The
Jess,
chief-
we're kind of waiting for you since you were into it.
Just real quickly on the speed trailer. As everybody may recall, you know, there's a number of mechanical problems and some vandalized caused problems to the speed trailer. Back in February, I had an article seeking to get monies to repair that. And John, I and Mike had a brief discussion, and you told me to go ahead and repair that. I have not repaired it yet. And the reason being is because I have also sought information and a proposal on upgrading all the electronics on that unit, which would eliminate, hopefully, the constant repair of the old electronics. So right now, we're looking at about $2,500 in repairs it needs right now. For about $4,800, I can have all new electronic display, all new computerized, boards and all that put in there. The company that has been keeping the trailer alive made this recommendation to me at their own peril because they will not, by their own word, be getting all the repairs from us in the future. They believe that this newer, updated electronics, which is fairly maintenance-free and very reliable, will eliminate future repairs. In other words, right now we're fixing junk.
Yeah.
And there's every reason to believe we're going to continue to fix junk so long as we keep trying to keep these electronics alive. So we'll reutilize the same trailer and it will be retrofitted and upgraded with the new electronics for around $4,500 to $4,800, somewhere in there. I don't have an exact figure to them. So I did not go ahead with repairing the old junk because I just wanted to run that by the finance committee and let the select board know, just give a little update on that.
Yeah, because I think we said use what you have in your line items, because you had money in there, and at the end of the year, we would reconcile it.
Right. Right, which by next week, that ought to be zero.
That's not bad.
So I didn't want to go and do that, you know,
As far as
based upon.
fixing it, it makes sense to do the full repair rather than half repair.
How much does the new one cost?
Well, they were 14,000, they're about 16,000 now.
Can you buy them used?
You
The old
can.
ones you can. With the new electronics, will it recognize license plates?
Just yours.
I vote yes.
So-
I would rather, I mean, that's my opinion, what do you guys think?
Where do we take it from, though, to pay the 40? I think the question is the difference between 28 and 48, where do we get the money?
Well, the article that I had proposed back in February is going to come out of reserve.
What do you folks think about the reserve, or something like that?
What's the reserve at now?
I was like, 33 or so?
We spent money last week, or was it 2 weeks ago? 2 weeks ago, we spent on postage and then.
It was small dollars, right, so.
I don't have the most recent report I've got.
So
So far, we've
about
got it
30
all still there.
About 30,000 now?
25,000 left.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have enough money to do it, I guess.
I mean, it's a public safety issue in my mind, so what do you folks think?
I mean, I can get it repaired for what we talked about before, but it might just be
But you're right,
repairing
I mean,
junk.
Yeah, 2,000 more, so can I have a motion on our end?
I move, we have the chief write it up and submit the paperwork.
All in favor? Okay.
Right.
We're all set. You guys need to act on it?
No, because it's your
It's our
money.
That's-
It's your money. It's your pocket, it's your dime, not ours.
I don't think we need to act on that after them.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yep.
Okay. Fiscal year 13 budget.
That's what you get for having one of those.
Tarzan.
Cool, that's neat.
Well, it's text messaging. I don't normally do it, so it lets me know something, it's important.
Tarzan swinging in the jungle. It's always important.
I don't think we're.
He's trying to go home to Jane.
Tarzan. Okay, so,
Okay.
how does it look? Big
Can we ask a
picture?
question? 3-4 months ago, we sat here and gave you the first draft, and have any of you looked into it, or just the information you gave to us, we're gonna come back to you with it now? I just wanna know where you guys are in the.
We haven't gone into that much detail. We did talk at our last meeting last week about what our stance would be with respect to wage increases throughout the town, and we're using that as a baseline number, so that's been our major element, really. As much as anything, along with some other, job descriptions and things like that that we're looking at, that will have a financial impact. But,
Well, there's zero wage increase in this budget, is what you've been asking for before.
Correct.
And Reggie and Bob put a lot of work in the last couple of weeks,
Mhm.
coming up with these new numbers, so
Right.
thank you for that. So the numbers we have, if you want to go to the end of it, are going to be a little different than what we have here, because Reggie made a change that we didn't put into ours yet, which was $100,000.
right, so it goes to 13,883.
Yeah, that's what we have here. And the revenue projection that we have, correct me if I'm wrong, is 13,794, which is roughly $90,000 difference from the budget that we're recommending.
I had 13,796.
You have 796, because today or
Okay.
yesterday, Ed Colley raised his revenue by 2,000 in the highway.
Thank you,
And
Ed.
it hasn't got to ours yet.
Okay.
But, yeah, they're 2,000 off.
Okay, so it's 90,000 roughly.
89 and change, yeah, 90,000. So if you look at the budget the way that it is submitted to you by the town administrator and the finance committee, that's a difference of what was requested, $620,000. So there's a gap there. There is no increase to wages in this budget across the board,
Correct,
but the expense budgets were funded.
correct.
Correct?
Most.
Most of them.
Yeah.
So then the next step is the unfortunate step of pairing 89-odd thousand from,
Well, we've got free cash at 345.
Mhm.
And at the last meeting that we both met at, there was a motion from the board that we take at least 50%
Right.
of stable, or free cash and divide it up between the stabilization accounts. It wasn't decided how much in each. But when we were discussing it, we would recommend that we take $100,000 and put it to each stabilization account of the free cash, so that's $200,000.
Right.
So that would leave $145,000 of free cash left. And if you needed
90.
90 from that, you'd come up with
55.
55,000 still in there. And that's, use the expression, surplus.
That's a bad name.
It's an oxymoron now,
Yeah,
surplus cash.
So,
And that doesn't take into account the FEMA money that Ed feels that we're gonna get back.
So that could be free cash once again that we now take and put into our
For next year.
reserves accounts.
So, yeah. And Bob was.
I have a question with the FEMA money. You gotta reimburse me quite a bit of money to compensate all my highway funds we used to do the storm that didn't go into the roads that were budgeted for those roads. So I don't think you should think that's surplus money. Because we're still gonna have a deficit of what we actually spent to what we received, about $150,000 to $170,000.
So you're saying the FEMA money
There's
should,
money, yeah, you guys get a false sense of security that we only got a $100,000 deficit. I made that deficit because I went overage. All that other money, all that wages, all that money that we paid contractors came out of the general highway and water and the winter roads. You're not compensating that back. I'm sorry, I will fight you to compensate that back because those affected all the work we couldn't do this year.
but are you gonna be, if we get it, when do you spend it?
Yeah. But
I'm just telling you, if you're gonna dole that money out to people that were involved with this project, I have severe problems with that.
We're not saying that.
Well, it
When
sure
you-
sounds it.
Well, I guess you have to listen further.
I'm listening completely.
Okay, when you were at the meeting last time with us, you told us that there was about $100,000 that you expended over your budget, and we were gonna get roughly $250,000 to $300,000 back. So you came up with that surplus number.
That's overages. But what do you think,
Whatever
all the
money
money I spent out of my operation budget to take care of all these contracts, to cut trees and remove stuff, that came out of my expense side, which hasn't been compensated.
Okay, but when I finish the conversation with the board here, I'm gonna go on to say, you recommended that we take that money and we put it
I
into
just
the
don't want
road.
people getting the false sense of security.
No, we
Because that money was earmarked for repairs. Those repairs have not been done. The amount of money you're giving me to do repairs this coming year is not enough because I wasn't able to do the repairs I wanted to do because we used that money to take care of contractors and expense items to take care of the storm. Just because it's a $90,000 deficit, there was a lot of other money spent out of that fund before we got to.
So, in plain language, what you'd like to see is the FEMA MEMA money go back into the highway accounts.
Yep, that's where I was going with this, to finish the conversation.
Okay.
He recommended when he saw us a few weeks ago that we could take that money and put it aside for the roads and give them more money to compensate for the work that wasn't done.
Yeah, that's,
So next year's budget will be correspondingly larger because it'll have the
Well,
FEMA.
I don't know that, or if we can put it aside into a special fund, so.
I think it should be a special fund so people will know that it's to compensate the work that was done this year because we had to use that money to take care
Yeah, but if it goes into a special fund, does then it become a target for other purposes? Whether if it goes into your highway fund accounts, it's
It all comes back to the public's decision.
just asking.
Two special line items, but that's a decision, once we reconcile the whole thing. But it's not gonna go into his budget this year.
No, it's going
The
next
budget will end and then we go into
next year.
yeah.
So technically, if you do that with the free cash and the FEMA MEMA, you may have $55,000 sitting out there. Again, that's if no other departments request.
And what do we do with that 55? What is the recommendation?
How do you guys
There's
feel
worse
about that? What do you
issues
think?
than that question, that's for sure.
Well, I know, but I mean, we could just sit there as free cash, or you want to move it into one of the reserve accounts so that we don't,
I think you're gonna have, my personal opinion, I think you're gonna have people saying, hey, I need more than what you gave me. So that's a little bit of cushion we guys can work with, if you will.
but if we move that money into one of the stabilization accounts, then we can't play that game if you need more or not. We
Well,
lock,
we'll go into operation.
we lock the people into, we lock them into staying within their budgets.
We're looking at it as we're going towards finalizing the budget, just leave that on the table so that we had a cushion. I'm sure it's not gonna just sit there. It'll go somewhere, but it's a matter of, we don't have to look for it if somebody's looking for more money and we don't have it. This way we have it if we do need it.
If you want it for money that we can easily use, we can put it in the reserve fund. $55,000.
Well, that's what I'm saying, instead of leaving it out there as free cash, which is very easily attached, spent, do we move it somewhere where some control, it makes it a little more difficult for people to come in and say, I'm out of money, give me some money.
Operating stabilization.
That's my
Well,
thought.
that's gotta go to town meeting about.
Well, like the others.
Reserve fund does
The
it.
100 and 100 already has to go to a town meeting.
Yeah,
So
but a reserve
if
fund,
you-
if somebody comes to us today and says, I really need this, that we can grant it, or
I mean, change the reserve from its 30,000 recommended to like 80?
85,000, yeah.
Minus what
I would-
Chief Silvernail needs.
Well, yeah, well, that's a reserve fund this year.
Yeah, this budget that you're looking at is still going to be talked about some more. I mean, we're not done with it. This is how far we've gotten so far. So we don't know if 55 is the right number. It might be a little more, it might be a little less. But then you do get to a point where you're recommending a budget, and I agree with you that if there's still this free cash unused, we ought to decide where we want to designate it, and if it's the operating stabilization, then it goes
Or some
there.
account where it's not right on the
Town
table.
can vote money out of it
Right.
whenever they see a need,
Right,
but we can't.
right.
We can't just come meet with you and
Spend it.
do like we just did with the trailer.
One thing, the stabilization accounts, if you need a cook, you have a special town meeting, and it costs us, what, $1,500 every time we go?
Yeah, I mean, I have no problem with it in the reserve account, at least it takes it off the table in a way. Someone has to come in and make a reasoned approach as to why I need the money.
And but like Bob says, that 55 may not even be the number.
No,
once we
I know,
get there.
whatever the number is.
But yeah, that's something we can look at.
Right, it sounds like you still need that 55 in case
Or some
different
amount.
line items
Right.
shift or something.
I think the fact that it's that close is a good thing.
Yeah.
And, but
All right.
Positive and negative.
Yeah.
And these are Bob's figures. Looking at free cash, what we used over the years, there was a high in '07 of 440,000 to a low this year of 8,000. So this will bring it back to 89,000. That's still a small number compared to, we'd love to have zero. of course.
Things are looking better, not in false sense
Well,
of
again,
security.
619,000 was chopped off the request, so you know, Rosie is Rosie, that's how you look at it.
Okay, well, so then we can agree to keep slogging through?
Well, again, where do you want us to go from here? I mean, this is what's recommended from here, and I'm assuming Reggie's backing this too, because they both work with it for a lot of time. You want to adopt this, you want to, discuss it?
Keep working on it.
Yeah, but I mean, I would
This
like,
is the ballpark number, though.
but like to find out from you folks, I mean, if we keep working on it, do we add, do we cut, I mean, where do we work from here? That's just it, I mean, what are your thoughts on it?
Well, as you know, it's been the unfortunate tradition, 1 year wages, 1 year expenses. This year, it looks like wages are on the chopping block. So what we've tried to do in years past is to fund as many expenses as possible. And I like Michael Phelan's idea of putting that 55, whatever it comes out, into reserve against those expenses as they come up. Beyond that, I don't know, for the final tweaking and things, well, would we go back to department heads, or would we set,
If you feel comfortable, we should share with the department heads.
that's what I'm thinking, is saying, what do you think about this?
When is the meeting that we're
The
gonna have with department heads to go review it?
17th, the next meeting, I believe it was.
Next week?
So next Tuesday?
It's next Tuesday, yeah.
Yep, next Tuesday. Just a preliminary, including the department heads into what's going on. The official budget hearing wasn't going to be until the 24th,
That's, okay.
but I still want them to take part, being involved in this budget process.
Yeah, 'cause we're cruising towards town meeting here too,
Oh, yeah.
which is kind of,
So we should release this to the town departments as a preliminary.
that would be my
discussion
sense,
item
yeah.
next week.
Can I make a suggestion? Is it possible maybe going back to departments that are, look at your figures from years prior, who has been short in the past? Can you go back and look at those folks?
We did. We've covered the
Continuously has been,
the expense lines.
okay,
We've tried to meet what we think would get them through a year.
okay,
And we were talking earlier about, well, one, the policy that we discussed the last couple of years with that Long Meadow Board of Selectmen document about how we want to do free cash and put the bulk of it away in the stabilization funds, and, that recommendation came tonight. And one of the others is to say, if we get to a year where we can give expense budgets enough money that we think they should be able to operate based on their history over the last few years, then the other policy would be make it balanced. There are no June or late May or June budget balancing, take from here, give to there kind of meetings anymore. Your expense budgets are, pretty well fully funded, so just make sure that at the end of the year, you either given money back or you made it. And this budget actually, for the most part, is offering, I think, that to the expense lines. And so, you go into next year with this budget, not expecting a ton of free cash, because some of the lines that generally generated a lot of free cash, like voc tuition and group health insurance sometimes, I think those are being budgeted right on the line, with nothing to spare. So we can't go forward and say, don't worry about it. If you overspend your budget, we'll just figure it out at the end of the year. We'll take from here, we'll move it to there. Because I don't think we're going to be in that position where we're going to have a whole bunch of extra to throw at a bunch of departments that overspent their budget. So with this budget, you'd be also saying to people on July 1st, this is it. There will be no more. We just won't have any more money.
If you're a department head, you should be fiscally responsible to stay within your budget.
And the reserve fund is for unexpected.
Exactly.
Well, Reggie, can I ask a question about distributing this budget? Since the department heads have until next Monday to get back to you on the
Correct.
revenues.
Correct.
And we're looking for confirmation that all these revenue numbers are actually correct. And we want to get it from the people who are responsible for them. They've been great about giving us numbers, but, you know, there are a lot of changes this year, especially in debt service and things. And we just want to make sure that what we're saying for revenue is actually going to happen. So if that's not going to happen until next Monday, you know, could I suggest that we have one more meeting next Tuesday? If department heads are here to talk about the budget, great. They can look at where it is and stuff like that, but we would still have the opportunity next Tuesday night to make some adjustments on the fly if we find out that some of the revenues are not what we thought. You know, because once we send this to all the department heads, and then we have to go back to them and say, oh, wait a minute, there's a big mistake here, we got to redo, I mean, that's a mess.
Right,
You
right.
know, and if the big meeting is until the 24th,
Correct.
next week can be like a preliminary for that. If some department heads want to come and talk, fine. But the big one, the presentation when we give out the budget, will be the 24th. That would be better for us, I think.
Okay.
It'll give us time to reconcile the Hampshire Regional too.
Yeah, talk about that as well.
Because
There's
in
a
my,
hand, sorry, there's a hand up in the back there too. Mr. Colley?
Yeah, I have a question. I've seen some of these numbers, and new growth, why is that so severely cut from previous years?
It's a big ongoing debate as to how many building permits were issued.
Well, you got the building inspector, he's only $1,000 or $2,000 shy, his projections, for what he came in this past year. So if you take a look at what he's projecting versus what the assessors, you know.
You're saying there's a
difference.
discrepancy between the two? That's-
Well, I think there's, yeah, big difference. If he's projecting 56 or 57,000, and last year was 59,000, there's a $2,000 difference. But you look at the assessors, they're saying new growth is going to be off by almost $85,000 from the previous year. I thought the last 2 years were the worst years. And I see the construction permits coming out too. And I'd like to know if this is conservative because they don't have an answer, fine. But based on what are they projecting in 90,000 versus on the 35 year before? And what are the actuals for this past year? To
What,
compare them to.
what I was told was in the past, the numbers that were given to Diana were not the numbers that Diana recorded. Diana inflated the numbers.
Okay, then what were the actuals? And then people
don't
might
know.
know. Oh, somebody's got to know what the actuals were.
Well, we'll get them.
Yeah.
So, yep.
question on the Hampshire regional budget, we've taken $100,000 out of that budget. What's the contingency if we get stuck with the whole thing?
Well, again, this is just a discrepancy tonight, and what we were talking about tonight at the meeting is that we don't want to grant them the full amount, because if one of the towns said
Right.
no,
Right,
we're stuck.
right,
So
no,
we want to
no.
back up. Is 100,000 the right
But I mean-
number, is it more? I'm not sure, but the week gives us time to
Yeah, but what's going to be the plan if in fact we get
take
stuck?
that money and put it somewhere on the side. Yeah, definitely don't spend it.
I have one other question.
Okay.
Local schools, have they been funded what they asked for?
No, not even close.
Okay. What was,
You don't have that one?
It's in there.
I got a lot of dark colors on mine.
They requested 4773, and were recommended 4696, which is 37 less.
No, they were 4,810.
Less.
Wait a minute.
They were 4,810 was requested, and we gave them 4,696.
Local schools?
Local schools.
I've got
Yours.
477.
Well, that's the vote too.
Okay, yeah, okay.
That's bulk included.
So I think they asked for an increase of like 149,000,
Right.
and we gave them 20. So they're getting $129,000 less than they asked for. I'm looking it up now, but that's what I remember.
Are you talking about just the elementary school, or are you putting in school
No,
choice?
just elementary school.
Okay.
Oh, all right.
They requested 3988,
And they got,
we gave them 3859.
so,
I gave the whole.
About 128 or 129,000 less than they requested.
But then when you go down to school choice, school
those
transportation,
don't, yeah, those
it
are
shrinks it up to a much.
do we know
smaller-
where they are in their union contract up there?
I met today, actually, 4 to 6 o'clock. We had the initial round. The union rep wasn't there, but obviously the association, Diane.
So they're entering into negotiations also.
Correct, and our next meeting is the 24th, 4 to 6. And I did basically outline for them our position with respect to wages.
Obviously, we have no supervisory capacity over them, but we do want to,
I told them anyway, so.
no, I know, but we do want to stress
Yeah, right.
for the moral guidance that we can give them.
But if you say 0%, and you've got the budget control, so they have to back into it whatever way they can.
Right. But they come to us for a gross number. We never, that $4 million number or whatever it is, they break it up themselves. We don't get to decide.
Right. But if you're not giving them an increase, they're giving an increase in wages.
Well, and that's where we have to be careful, because then they come looking for that $150,000 for transportation or whatever it is,
That's where you really
Yeah,
have
that-
to dig in.
That's where when they come to you for the reserve transfer,
Right.
I did pass that on to the school committee too,
About the transportation?
about, our, not consternation, but I guess our bewilderment about that when we had recommended 0 wages and they persisted in wage increases, which they funded. Michael's right, they get a gross number from us and they parse it out the way they want.
But again, if they come back to the,
that's where we have to,
we have to say no.
Right.
That's gonna be tough, but.
Again, that's part of being fiscally responsible. If they're able to give the wages up front, then obviously they have a plan in place to meet through the end of the year. If they don't, well, we don't control that aspect. That's their decision, they made it, they have to live with it.
Okay. All right, so we're going to hold off then until after we get the revenue numbers coming back.
Next week when we meet,
Yep.
we'll see if things have changed at all, or dramatically, or whatever. But
Okay.
let's wait a week to make sure we got things right.
All right, good. Well, thanks very much, guys, we appreciate it, and ma'am,
Yeah,
Linda,
thank
sorry.
Suggestion to do Monday?
Yes.
In this day and age, you can actually say guys, but it's a unisex term, but at my generation, we said ma'am. I've had people get after me for saying ma'am. What do you think I am?
I had that.
You had that too, isn't it?
It's just being polite.
I was partly raised in Texas and partly up here on High Street, and we always said ma'am.
Well, in Texas, you can still say ma'am.
from West Texas on High Street.
Maybe I wasn't raised down there, I was just there.
We were there.
Okay, well, thanks very much.
Thank you, no, it's good.
Yep, appreciate all your help. Fiscal responsibility. Moving on then, we have no bill warrants. PCFs, we have one here for the town administrator.
Don't let them keep you there.
Okay, personnel change form, Jess, did you want me to read this or what?
No, I just pass it over to you. What we have here is a request to a personnel change form, which would be a reappointment of the interim town administrator for a 12-week period, which is pursuant to our understanding of the bylaws in this particular situation.
Motion to approve?
Second.
So any further discussion? Those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. I'll sign it here.
Do we have a date when that carries you through?
Okay,
Excuse me, Mr. Chairman.
yes, sir.
I'd just like to bring up to the board about the ability on my behalf to address some of these proposals that we had earlier with town council.
Oh, the union contract proposal? Oh,
I'd like to talk to town council about some of them.
all right.
Fine. Let's go ahead with that one. Okay. Okay, so you don't have to.
Where are we with our legal budget?
Okay.
We're good? Okay. Just wanted to make sure before we,
Okay,
because you got that other issue to talk to them about.
yes.
You got the Board of Health issue, you got the,
There's a motion to continue discovery, that's kind of a foregone thing, isn't it?
motion to continue discovery on that.
It's in that folder.
I mean, we've been good about that budget, but all of a sudden, we're starting to spend it again.
True.
Oh, I mean, the property acquisition. No?
Ongoing
I know what you're
action
doing.
against the town. Copeland and Page is the header.
Oh, I got it. Oh, jeez. Never ending, excuse my language, cesspool.
Okay, we have here then, let's see, reappointment of Veteran Services Officer, Robert Messier. We have until April 30th to appoint or reappoint Veterans Benefits and Service Agent under Section 3, Chapter 115 of Mass General Laws, and then return it by May 1st, even though we have to, okay.
That's a big ticket item.
The motion to approve the veterans agent?
Second.
Any further discussion on the motion been made and seconded to approve the reappoint the Veterans Agent, Robert Messier? Okay, those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
You know, just, we're gonna have to be more careful, because this, what's going on now is gonna be a big ticket item on that. It's gonna be an expensive proposition.
True, it's been projected that we could at some point.
Well, that item that they're gonna do, I would estimate is anywhere from $2,000 to $5,000, depending on how long it takes.
Don't we have a budget for it?
Yeah, we have a budget, but we're just starting to, we did so well, and now all of a sudden, we're starting to roll through that budget.
Right. Reggie, do we have a signature page for the reappointment of the
No.
Veteran Service?
No, I'm just going to sign off stating that you reappointed him tonight.
Okay. Conservation appraisals, open space and recreation plans for small communities grant program. This is Southampton. Population now is listed as 5,892. Contact person Reggie Sullivan, Regina Shea Sullivan. Okay, this is open space and recreation plan
I'd like to
preparation.
apply for a grant so we can get funding for the update of the open space plan.
Move to apply for the grant.
What I need Justice on.
Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. So Conservation Commission, no, Chief, I'm the Chief Executive Officer.
Yep.
Yes.
I thought I was just the chief bottle washer. Include my titles. 4/10/2000.
Hugo now have to call you Mr. Chief Executive Officer.
What do you call when you're out of office? The former?
Mr. Former Chief Executive.
Unemployed.
Yeah.
Although you'd have to get a salary to be employed.
Yeah, exactly. No longer subject to all the... Okay, Select Board is requesting funding in the amount of $2,995 from the Community Preservation Funds, and $2,000 from the Planning Board for the completion of the update of the town's open space and recreational plan. Now, we had approved...
This is if we do not get the grant,
Right.
still have.
So do we want to sign this now, or just...
If grant funds are not available, I move that we take the money from there.
I put it down for something.
Second.
Okay, those in favor?
We gotta do it.
Right, we have to, it has to be in place before we can grant the contract, right? In favor?
Aye.
Here we go. Okay, and here's the contract request for quote, which came back at $4,995, and this is from Courtney Half Associates. And they're going to do a fast job, I've been told, so it's called Half Fast.
The humor gets just more intense as the evening goes on.
And I'm getting tired. 4 hours of negotiation, good Lord. So in any case, this is the commitment and contract, or the agreement for the updating of the Town of Southampton's open space and recreation plan. And it is in the amount of $4,995, and it details the scope of work and exactly all of the things that would be going on. And this particular update has to do with the master plan, it has to do with open space. Can you think of other applications this has?
That application is needed for scoring any grants.
That's right. I couldn't think of that. Okay, so what we'll need is a motion to approve this contract. We just approved the funding and the
Does
request.
this go that way, or which way does this go?
I'm saving them over here for signatures, I guess.
Okay.
I move to approve.
Second.
Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. No date? I'm gonna put a date on anyway, just,
Oh, sorry.
that's okay. That was just, oh, sign. Appointing authority, right here. I have a date here, but then the rest of the folks have to sign it here also. Okay, moving down the line, we have, what do we have, Reggie? Emergency appointment, earned vacation,
David Kilson's emergency appointment expires on April 16th.
right.
So would the board, what's the board's desire to reappoint him for another 2 weeks until this posting of the position goes out, the interviewing of the candidates, so forth, so forth?
Why wouldn't we appoint him for a maximum of 13 weeks, subject to...
Well, it's our understanding that the bylaws don't really permit that. We had a meeting here last Monday morning. That's the current interpretation of the bylaws,
Okay.
which applies also in the interim town administrator's case. So,
Anybody know what section temporary employees?
it's on page 12? No.
Ken, I'm getting it out.
Sure, I think it's section 4. It usually doesn't.
He's got your copy, by the way.
Here and here.
For a fixed period of time, not to exceed 12 weeks.
So we thought, just out of adherence to the bylaws, that we would go with the 12-week suggestion. And then,
I was talking about the accountant position.
right, town accountant.
So you're only appointing him for every 2 weeks?
Oh, I'm sorry, yeah, why did we get to 2?
Well, the intent is, you appoint them for 2 weeks to make sure the work kept flowing, to give you time to get it.
To 12, that's right, I'm sorry, I said 2,
12 weeks.
right.
There's nothing that says you can't appoint them for another 2 weeks to keep the work flowing.
Why don't
That's what
we,
the intent is.
but why can't we appoint him instead
You
of,
can, but you can't do it. You gotta go through the whole gamut to everybody.
oh, so we can do,
Yes.
For
But we
12
can-
weeks, we need a PCF.
but for 2 weeks we don't?
No, you're just trying to keep the work
All right,
flowing.
move it for 2 weeks.
That was my reason, sorry. In favor?
Aye.
Okay. So,
But we gotta be careful we don't miss a beat with that 2 weeks.
absolutely, you're
We're meeting
quite,
tomorrow night. Right.
Yeah, I know, I saw the agenda. I can't open her agendas, but I saw the meeting was posted, so.
Okay. I mean, I believe that's there. I believe that 12-week appointment is there.
For him.
Correct.
So then we'll have a 12-week appointment, okay.
and then the bigger picture, of course, is to post the job, well, create the job description, post it. There was a job description that was created, but I had some concern personally about the educational requirements, like a BA or BS in accounting. And there's no bachelor's level degree offered in municipal accounting. It's a separate,
There's no degree.
there's no degree at all, at any level, correct. So I didn't know if that was in the town's best interest to go out
I
and
do
look.
have a couple from various towns that have filled the positions. Acton is one, I think another one, Chelmsford's another, and they have a lot of stuff that can be used, I believe.
Sure.
And it's, we're on the same pay rate we're talking about.
Did they fill them without a person with a bachelor's?
It is, but they're looking for more. When it comes to, they like to see somebody with a bachelor's, they would
Right.
like, but they will accept experience, you know, and from what limited amount of time I've looked into this, there's no degrees in municipal accounting. And Reese told me it's a different animal altogether than regular business accounting. But it's all spelled out by DOR, what they expect from a person doing that. And I think there's an 86-page document from DOR on what is required in that position. And,
We should probably take a look at some of those,
Yep.
that description.
Okay. Okay, so you're meeting tomorrow night. You will be discussing the 12-week appointment. And in the meantime, then what?
The 12-week appointment of David Kilson? Is that what you're
Right.
referring to? You've only done 2 week. You did not vote for a 12-week.
I know, but
Oh.
they're going to meet tomorrow night, Personnel Policies and Procedures Board,
To talk about.
talk about a 12-week.
But didn't
But-
you just say you're going to, when his 2-week expires, you can extend it for 2 more weeks?
Right,
And then hopefully everything's signed for the 12 week.
right,
Right.
yeah, that's what we're doing.
Did
So
you vote for the 12 week, because you only voted for?
No.
we only
We
voted
voted for
2 week
2.
tonight.
Correct.
Right, so when we get that, then we'll vote a 12 week.
Oh, okay. PCF, you mean?
Yeah, we have to do a PCF for 12 weeks.
Well, wouldn't you want to do that now and give that to the policy board so that they can vote on it tomorrow night?
Like you already gave it to him.
No, they only have the 2 week, not the 12 week.
Oh, that's what I'm
No, we didn't do
confused.
a 12-week.
I'm confusing.
You should give us a 12.
12 week.
That's what-
Give one to Reggie for tonight to do that, so we have.
I move that we appoint, we send a PCF for a 12-week emergency appointment to Personnel Planning Board,
You already
Personnel.
established the fee.
Yes.
Dollar amount based
Yeah.
on what's
Right.
in there.
Do we have a second?
Second.
In favor? Aye, okay, so,
I'll change that from the 2 week to the 12 week, that PCF that was signed, that's.
that PCF is for this last,
I put 2 PCFs in there. I put one for the clarification of the 3205, and I put the second one because it's going to expire on April 16th. So then now you're doing a 12-week
I'm not sure.
temporary or emergency.
Okay, but I didn't sign, I didn't see that either.
There should be 2.
I don't see it. So can you check in your records just to make sure and see if you have it over there?
Might be a meeting next week,
All right, this board? I believe
Yes.
so.
the 16th,
Yep.
Monday or Tuesday?
Monday,
Monday, so
17th.
my suggestion to you is you're not going to see the documents back here. It's a Tuesday, so you should do that second appointment for 2 weeks. Just officially do that, to extend it 2 more weeks after it finishes on the 16th. And by the time you have this, it gives you a little flexibility.
So why don't we just create another PCF and authorize somebody to come in and sign it?
Yeah, I live up the street, not in Texas anymore, so if you want to authorize me to sign it, I'll come in and do
Sure.
that.
Yeah, so moved.
Second.
In favor? Abstain? Okay, so we got 3 to authorize me to come in and sign it. Okay, moving along then, so do we want to discuss at all, though, any further input with respect to the position description, or do we want to wait till that comes out of P cubed to B?
Well, isn't that a separate issue? The new, what you're talking about is the new town accountant position?
Correct. Mhm.
What qualifications we wish
Right.
for that position?
This is for what position again?
Town
Town
accountant.
accountant.
Well, I think, as Ed pointed out, there are places we can go to get descriptions. I mean,
We're
I
not
don't-
trying to barge in, sorry, you're not trying to barge into your territory, I'm just wondering,
No, I know that.
but do
But I'm
you,
just saying, if we can help you find it, I do think that this board should put the description together.
that's what I'm thinking too, so I'd be, let's see, but you need
I have
something.
no problem going over with any member you want or whoever and compare it to what we have. And I can give you what I have.
I already provided that to the board
Okay.
members. Oh, you mean for your examples?
Well, I have some examples too,
Okay.
but I'm just saying is that I don't think it's not new, it's not a new territory.
It's
True.
And, there were several towns that Reggie had I just ran across it today. She did a spreadsheet of all municipal employees, I think a year ago, and I just ran into it today. And there's several towns, we're all in the same price range we currently have, and they're all like towns.
Well, the question
And
becomes,
they're still doing 20, 22 hours.
right, the question becomes, David's been here for a long time and he's making, what,
40.
40? Are we gonna bring in someone and start them at 40?
I mean, I'm just saying.
No, but I'm just saying, no.
Oh,
You know, I mean, to me, David got paid for longevity to a certain degree, and he only got his most recent increase very recently.
I mean, I think the account positions is very important, but my thought is, and I'm not looking to make it any bigger than it is that what you really need the account to be doing, is he doing stuff that the clerk should be doing up there right now on a day-to-day basis, posting stuff? I don't know. This is a discussion you should have
Right.
with maybe DOR and David or somebody like that, and maybe this guy or this person that comes in as an accountant wouldn't be doing menial tasks, which could be covered by something else. He should be doing your Schedule A's, your tax rate, and all this other stuff that has to be done on a timely basis, otherwise you get in trouble. And, I mean, I'm not saying I have the answer, but I mean, how much of his time, and what is his time being devoted to right now, chewing up how much time is allocated on a weekly basis versus what we need to have done by accountant.
I mean, we need someone, someone tell me I'm wrong, we need someone with some experience in municipal accounting. We don't necessarily know we don't have a requirement of a certain degree because
We know there's 365 towns that have,
and some of them
they're
have,
all vary.
and they may have assistant accountants, and that's who we're looking to hire as somebody's assistant because he's looking to move up.
And the other thing too is, you have an auditor, does that firm offer services to us that we can use to do these things?
Right, can we-
On a professional basis.
Well, there's another firm that offers professional accounting, town accounting services too, on a contract
On a contract
outsourcing
basis,
basis.
so
So that may be price
I think
competitive.
you're looking, price is important.
So should we ask for a request for proposal from them?
I did.
Oh, okay.
Well, what I'm saying is, I know, just seeing many meetings you guys have gone through, and from previous boards, is that it always seems you guys are against the clock on a lot of paperwork with DOR, and it comes back and bites us. Am I wrong? But those are my observations.
Okay, all righty. Okay, so is this board okay with us taking on the position description?
May I make a suggestion? May I utilize the Mass Municipal Personnel Association where they have the job descriptions? May I?
And I'll work with you on that if you want, because I guess this is what I do professionally. so.
That's a good idea, Reggie.
Yeah, okay. Everybody all right with that?
I'm fine with it.
Okay, then we have earned vacation with respect to the town accountant. That's, I don't know.
The treasurer's office is trying to complete his retirement paperwork.
I'm not hearing you, Reggie, I'm sorry.
Do the
Fire
Red
a
Sox
couple of
win?
shots down there, straighten them out.
Okay, so the,
The treasurer's office is trying to complete David Keelson's retirement package, and they need the final payment of what this town is going to pay out in the earned vacation. The concern is, some salary employees do not report all their vacation time that they've taken, so they're not sure if this is the case.
I'm confused.
well, there's been, as she said, reported vacation days. To what extent do those impact the final payout for unused vacation from a salaried employee?
So the question is, how much unused vacation does he have from this year?
Correct.
We don't have a number?
No, we can try to get that, though.
He doesn't fill out
No.
put down, no? How does he get away with not having a?
Well, we have a list of folks who didn't submit timesheets. If you look at that, Reggie puts that out every week. It includes police, it includes, that's the one I remember seeing. It's a loose sheet of paper in there, Michael. What we have here is a structural problem of folks not filling out their timesheets.
Do we still have a problem with people not filling out?
Yes.
We do. I thought we made a directive that they were supposed to do it or they're not gonna get paid, period.
No, that directive did not go out. The directive that went out was the select board had adopted a policy for all employees to complete timesheets, but I did not second it. I did not go further by sending that directive. So if the board wishes to do so, I would do that.
Oh, I think so. They either comply or they go down the road, that's all.
Has he said how many days vacation he thinks he has? Well, wouldn't that be the first question?
Yeah, I'll work with him on that. Okay. All right, so, yeah, we do.
Well, let's attach this structural problem here. How do we fix this? We don't know how many vacation days people have.
By law, we have to pay people anyway, right, by what they submit.
Right, but I mean, if they don't have a department head, we should be their department head. And they should be clearly identifying vacation time as vacation time. And if they're not, it's what we heard from the chief tonight, when it gets to the end of the year, you use it or you lose it.
Right. Yeah. I agree, so what we could do is send out that directive, call it the use it or lose it directive, in diplomatic terms.
Who does not have a department head that we should be, other than Keelson, and who else would there be?
Maintenance,
I'm sorry?
maintenance, custodial, that's us too, right?
That actually falls under.
Under Ed now.
That's under Ed's purview.
You look at a timesheet for every one employee signed by me as a supervisor approving those hours, and they sign it saying they agree with those hours.
Right.
So that should happen with all the
Well, I suppose we got the building inspector,
That's, yeah, the building inspector.
you got our plumbing inspector doesn't get vacation time.
No.
Veterans agent,
But if he's putting time in, you should be signing for it.
yeah, you should be signing, but vacation schedule is all I'm talking about right now. Veterans agent,
He gets a stipend.
so he doesn't get vacation. So those are the only ones. So
We can try it and see what happens.
we certainly should.
Okay, you want to make a motion to
So
that?
moved.
Second.
In favor?
And if we discover anyone else that does not have direct supervision by someone, then they clearly should come to us.
Yep. Okay.
What about something else now that we're trying to touch up? Do we have any direction about that people are not to be working from home? They got to start their day?
Yeah, we did that.
You have that as a
That's
policy.
very clear. And
Yep.
is it being adhered to?
I believe so.
Okay.
I haven't heard different.
All
Mr.
right.
Colley, I think you had some.
Just a question, policy procedure sent to this board back a month and a half ago, an exit policy where anybody retiring or just in dispute would come. I believe there are plenty of authorization in that manual to come to the policy procedures board to rectify what they have remaining before they leave, so we're all on the same page.
That was the exit interview.
And we have not received anything back from this board yet on what we want to do. But we thought it would save a lot of problems in the future if there was an accident.
I made that, I'm pretty sure I made that motion and it was passed.
Yeah.
I
thought-
That-
don't
that-
remember that.
That everybody was going to have an exit interview.
I think you talked about it, but I don't remember the motion.
Then I'll make
So
it
what
now.
I actually put it on as, do you guys have to do a hearing first, allowing the employees to, a part of the
I don't
policy
know about
bylaws?
that. I believe that if there's a dispute, they have to come back with policy procedures, do dispute with the superintendent or their department head. But I have no problem, it's a matter of having a simple hearing,
Yeah.
you know, it's
Well,
fine.
why do we have to have a hearing until someone complains about it?
Right, so I mean, but the bylaw says if you're gonna change anything
Right.
on the bylaws, you need to bring it to this board here, have a simple hearing at an open meeting,
Right.
and then it's
But we're
adopted.
not changing anything. We're just asking for an exit interview to clarify benefits that are due upon separation.
And you would do that anyways.
So I move that all employees terminating for retirement or separation reasons go to an exit interview with Personnel Planning Board. I thought I'd done that before, but maybe I didn't.
Thought you did
I'll
too.
second that.
In favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So no hearing on the 17th?
Right.
Okay.
Well,
I think officially you probably should do it.
yeah, but I mean,
So
if you've got it marked up, let it go.
I do
It's
have
not
that.
written in there per se, but if you look at various sections of it, they should be coming to us if there's a conflict. This is a conflict. If somebody doesn't agree with it, they come to us for a conflict to resolve. So we're just trying to hit off.
Should we send a request to David for him to come to us?
Yes. I think we'll resolve it.
I think you send a note to David that the select board requests that he contact the personnel policy board for a exit interview and clarification of benefits.
Clarification what his, what he has, what he feels his benefit packages, and what we have the documentation to go along with it. I think it will help a lot of issues that we've had over the years.
Okay, good. I think we're down to the last item here then, too. This has to do with the town administrator position description. Anything else?
I'd like to make a suggestion on that. I've read this town administrator, the job description, everything that individual is supposed to be doing, blah, blah, blah. I would like to, with the permission of the chairman and the committee here, select board members, to form a small committee to do a very quick meeting or whatever in regard to the requirements educational-wise that this individual must possess. I'm looking at what it says. It says bachelor's degree in business, government, public administration, page 5, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm there.
Okay, bachelor's degree in business, government, public administration, or a related field from an accredited four-year college or university required. And it says, master's degree in public administration or related field highly desirable. And it says, plus 3 to 5 years experience in the field of public administration or an equivalent combination of education and experience. I'd like something put in with that. We've got people that are doing some jobs that they have a lot of experience, but not the formal education. And they're doing very, very well at these jobs. Instead of having just that in, they should have or X amount of years equivalent of management. Because that's what it is basically management, all of these skills here. And you don't need a bachelor's degree or a master's degree or whatever for that.
What about if you changed it to suggested bachelor's degree or something like that?
Pardon me?
Right.
What if you changed it from a requirement of a bachelor's degree to a suggested bachelor's degree?
Or a master's degree, it says it right here.
Right, suggested.
So-
That would work just fine.
So if we were to just put suggested in there,
Yep.
then that would take care of somebody else that had management. Am I correct in that, Sue?
Yep,
Could
absolutely.
you make a motion to do that, sir?
I was going to suggest, actually, what we could do here, and we're going to be willing to work on this too, is to come up with, as I mentioned the last couple of meetings, what happens over time is any given position evolves, things change. Since this was written, we're in a new building. We now have, for example, the television, all the different things that have occurred. So what I'd like to do here is to reformulate this position description that reflects the current state of what's going on in the town, what our budgetary ideas might be, and those kinds of things as well, and to present it back to the board here for approval.
I have no problem with that. Do you have time to do it, though?
Well, I can make time, work weekends.
All right.
I work on weekends.
Then I move that we have Jess do that.
Okay, second.
You all right with that?
Yep.
Okay.
Good.
That's right, you get to ask it, okay. Now, my pay for that.
The same as you've always got.
Okay, I believe that was actually it, with the exception of tomorrow night is the Park Commission and it's Lenny's last meeting. Anything else anybody have? Town meeting warrant is,
Motion adjourned?
sir.
We have been submitting documentation on FEMA storms since October 29th. We have received Reggie's form, shows us $2,300 that came in, $2,400. We did receive something like $19,000 in just recently, so that'll be added to the list. We did get approval for $49,500 for the first 48 hours of the storm. We will be getting 75% of it. These are contracts already signed, and if the money does not come in before you borrow on them. Okay, we also have another contract for $176,000 that has been approved for the work the highway department's done, and we will receive 75% of that. We had 8 or 9 roads that were what they classified as federal aid highway roads, and they were not under the FEMA umbrella, they under the Federal Highway Administration. We have finished the paperwork and submitted that. The different rules for that, there's 100% reimbursement on that, and also regular wages were included in that, versus all our regular wages in the FEMA is not included. That's an expense that's non-reimbursable, only overtime is. But on those 12 streets, that adds up to $51,000. So that's what we're looking at. There's, I believe the police chief has got a small grant for reimbursement for his cruisers and stuff going on. The police chief has been working with him, they've been trying to talk to Steve Tide about getting his stuff in. He's got a deadline coming up shortly. He's got some assistance that he has to get in to FEMA. They're not big dollar amounts, both those departments, but every nickel helps. So that's where we are. By would tell you, if you needed that money, you could borrow on that money with the exception of $51,000 on the federal side, because I haven't got a contract from them yet. They have the paperwork in submittal. They have to go through and approve all those line items. FEMA has approved everything we submitted to them, so that money is in the stream. We do have contracts for it. If we need to borrow that money before June 30th, we can borrow against it. All right?
Do we need a debt exclusion to do
But they
that?
are making a great effort to get us that money.
We need a debt exclusion to do that?
No, you do not. That's just a simple short-term borrowing. We do it every year on Chapter 90 money that we have executed. It's always a small note. We have an agreement with Mass Highway for that Chapter 90 money. Anything that's outstanding that's owed us, as long as you can boost the contract, we can produce short-term borrowing to do that. My recommendation is, I believe the money will come in, but if it doesn't, and the town needs the money, they can borrow against it. It might cost them $1,800 to borrow, it's $250,000, because as soon as it comes in, you can pay it off right away.
Yeah, interest rates are really low right now. Okay, thanks. Anything else? We'll take a motion to dissolve.
Second.
Okay, that was a good.